Welcome everybody to another episode of the Monday News Flash. 2 weeks late due to some technical issues with my camera and some personal stuff that I had to take care of. But we have a lot of news to walk through, so let's kick it off. A lot of shuffling, a lot of big news from the minor qualifiers, and of course, some big tournaments at the weekends. This time around, we will speak about the news from 2 weeks ago and then talk about the news 1 week ago. We will start with two news from across the pond over in America. Freakazoid and Summit were to stand in for S1mple at Dreamhack Austin. How that went later on. We also had Mo to step down from Echo Fox and Shazam replacing him for the time being. But Echo Fox also look for a replacement for A2Z, so they will switch two players. A small shuffle has been triggered by Fnatic, picking up Venton from Team Preparation. Of course, Venton will only act as a stand-in as long as Olaf needs to recover from his injury. But Preparation also lost another player. Glaze joined Escape Gaming. So Preparation had to disband, which leaves Lomi, Cadian and Crystal without a team. Na'Vi withdraw from the ECS Season 1, which is quite surprising news because this is one of the biggest leagues at the moment. But Starrick said that the squad is quite stressed from the past weeks and months. They had very close results and they had a lot of work. So they want to take some time off to get their batteries back to full charge, and they also want to have Guardian back in full shape. Unpleasant news from the Asian scene. Inch King have been banned from Lounge and from eFrag tournaments due to them match fixing. Speaking of eFrag, they left their organization. They had some miscommunication with their contracts. They wanted to have something fulfilled that wasn't fulfilled by eFrag, so NKL and company will go by the tag of MK. On a side note, smaller tournaments, smaller teams, but big news nonetheless. Space Soldiers have won the Go Champions League Season 3, upsetting AGG, Dignitas and Godsend on the way to the trophy. Empire and Fluffy Gangsters have qualified for the ESL1 Cologne major qualifier in Cologne, so they came through on top of the CIS minor. And LDLC is back, ladies and gentlemen. Existence has gathered some new folks around him. Toynu, Mathend, Bully and Alex will be joined by the legend himself. Let's see where he can take them. And Tempo Storm visited London for a weekend. They took home their first international trophy from the CEVO Gfinity Season 9 finals. And that was definitely a much deserved win for them. Now we get into last week's news. So we are finished with the news from 2 weeks ago. Starting off in China, so on the other side of the earth, of the globe, so to speak, we have another big league announced by the NEA. $100,000 up for grabs in a Chinese-only league. I already spoke about ESL1. This time around it's gonna be in New York though, so we have another stop added to the ESL1 circuit with one of the biggest venues to date and $250,000 up for grabs. And I mentioned the small shuffle in the Scandinavian scene already. Hunden and Percy have been removed from Copenhagen Wolves' active roster. Maybe they can snatch Cadian or Lomi or both or one of them, or I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting in the next week. Speaking of people replacing other people or leaving teams, Lounge Gaming decided to go separate ways with their team. The Polar squad will play the minor, but then they will be free agents. And breaking news just released, Tapson left Penta. So we might have another shuffle in Germany, or maybe Tapson will go and seek his luck elsewhere. That's gonna be very interesting as well. Hellraisers qualify for the ESL Pro League Season 4 by winning the ESEA Primer League against Penta with Tapson, but now he's gone, of course, but still, just wanted to point that out. So Penta have secured the second place, and they will fight against Virtus Pro for the last spot in the ESL Pro League Season 4. And a lot of qualifiers, a lot of teams qualifying. Tyloo and Renegades will join the teams list at ESL 1 Cologne major qualifier. So the qualifier to the major, they won the Asian minor. To be exact, Tyloo won against Renegades. And the second last news of this episode, s1mple is back in Europe. I told you that 3 weeks ago already. It only took him 2 weeks to find a new squad. He joins Worst Players, a team that he played for already. This time he will join Fix, Arc, Dima and Crush. This move leaves Kibaken and Davkost without a team. Some sources already told me on Twitter that they ended up joining with some players from Arcade. So we see another shuffle, this time in the CIS region. And they have a lot of talent that is overseen at the moment. I'm really curious to see how that pans out. Last but not least, Dreamhack Austin, Texas ended yesterday at the 8th of May. Luminosity and Temple Storm ended up in the final in an American-only tournament. So the South America being superior to North America at the moment. And Luminosity won against Temple Storm with a quite decisive scoreline. But Temple Storm really don't need to hide away from anyone anymore. They will be very, very dangerous for every single team in the scene. So that's it for this episode of the Monday News Flash. I hope I was able to cram in all the news from the past 2 weeks in this small format. I hope that I was able to keep you entertained and informed at the same time. If you like this format, subscribe to see more, and of course give me a thumbs up if you want to support me. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, see you next week.